Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a tech giant so massive, it is literally its own digital economy. It's kind of like combining Amazon, Google, Uber, and Stripe all into one massive entity. We're going to look past the surface today to truly decode the DNA of Alibaba, a company that has fundamentally reshaped how global business gets done. So, is Alibaba just an online store? Well, most people just casually write them off as the Chinese Amazon. And sure, that's a convenient shorthand. But calling them just an online store is like calling a smartphone just a calculator. The reality is far more expansive and deeply woven into the fabric of everyday commerce. If you're only looking at them as a retailer, you are missing the biggest parts of the picture. Actually, there's a thought from the Alibaba Group CEO that completely flips this on its head and perfectly illustrates our thesis for today. He describes Alibaba not as a single e-commerce company, but as a digital economy ecosystem. And that right there is absolutely crucial. Their true strategy isn't just selling you a product, it's providing the foundational digital infrastructure for modern commerce itself. They're building the roads, the bridges, and the power lines of a vast digital economy. To wrap our heads around how they pull this off, we're going to break this down into 5 parts. First, defining the ecosystem. Second, the e-commerce foundation. Third, the digital backbone. Fourth, expanding the frontiers. And finally, the connected network effect.
Okay, part 1. The ecosystem-defined digital infrastructure.
So rather than just slapping together a bunch of disconnected apps, Alibaba focuses on the entire lifecycle of operating online. We're talking about the digital infrastructure that enables consumers, merchants, businesses, financial institutions, and even governments to buy, sell, communicate, compute, and innovate. They support everything from a single consumer's smartphone purchase all the way up to the data management of an entire smart city. Moving right along to part 2, the e-commerce foundation, core marketplaces.
When you look at their consumer retail in China, it's fascinating how they divide and conquer to capture every type of shopper. On one hand, you've got Taobao. Think of it as a massive consumer-to-consumer space, kind of like a supercharged, highly interactive eBay with live stream shopping and aggressive AI recommendations. Then you've got Tmall. This is their premium business-to-consumer space. If global heavy hitters like Apple, Nike, or L'Oreal want to set up an official flagship store and run deep customer analytics in China, Tmall is exactly where they go.
But behind all that consumer shopping is a massive churning B2B wholesale engine. And again, they split their focus perfectly. For international buyers looking to connect with manufacturers, there's Alibaba.com, literally the world's largest B2B marketplace. But inside China, they operate 1688.com. That is the domestic wholesale hub serving local businesses with direct factory pricing and OEM manufacturing. And to complete this massive commerce footprint, we can't forget AliExpress. That is how they reach consumers completely outside of China, offering international online shopping for everything from electronics to fashion. So between all these platforms, Alibaba has the whole shebang covered: domestic retail, domestic wholesale, and global wholesale.
All right, part 3, the digital backbone, cloud and logistics. You can probably guess that running the world's biggest marketplaces requires some serious mind-boggling computing power. Enter Alibaba Cloud Services. This is basically their version of AWS or Microsoft Azure. We're talking elastic compute, advanced databases like PolarDB, networking, vision AI, and heavy-duty DDoS protection. And the crazy thing is, it's not just for their own stores. Outside enterprises, banks, startups, and universities rely on this exact same infrastructure. But here is the real game changer. They don't just host the data, they physically move the boxes in the real world. This is Kaineo, their smart logistics platform. They handle the warehouse management, cross-border logistics, parcel tracking, and they use brilliant AI route optimization to make sure millions of packages get exactly where they need to go. They are actually pulling off same-day delivery in a ton of regions. Now, to bridge the digital and physical worlds, you absolutely need a financial engine, right? That's Alipay. While it operates within the broader Ant Group, it's intimately connected to Alibaba's platforms. It handles mobile and QR payments, online checkouts, and goes way beyond just buying stuff online. It gives hundreds of millions of users access to wealth management, utility bill payments, and even travel bookings.
Now for part 4, expanding the frontiers beyond retail.
So with commerce, cloud, logistics, and payments locked down,
They use that foundational infrastructure to expand right into your living room and your daily commute. For local services, they own Elay.me for food, grocery, and pharmacy delivery, right alongside AMAP, which handles mapping, traffic data, and ride-hailing. Over in entertainment, they offer Youku for video streaming and live sports, plus Alibaba Pictures for actual film financing and production. They are literally mapping your route, delivering your dinner, and streaming your movies.
And they are fiercely future-proofing all of this through relentless enterprise AI and tech innovation. They are pouring resources into their own QN large language models to power AI assistants, intelligent search, and coding tools. But again, it goes way beyond e-commerce. They're leveraging this tech to build supply chain management software, manufacturing intelligence, and solutions robust enough to run the digital infrastructure for entire smart cities. It is an absolutely awe-inspiring leap in scale.
Which brings us to Part 5, the Connected Network Effect Integrated Ecosystem.
Okay, this is where it gets really fascinating. We've just looked at 9 major business areas, but let's see how they synthesize into one unstoppable network through a single product's lifecycle. Think about this flow. Step 1, a manufacturer sells materials via 1688. Step 2, a brand buys those, creates a product, and opens a flagship store on Tmall. Step 3, a consumer discovers that product using Alibaba's AI search. Step 4, the payment clears seamlessly via Alipay. Step 5, the physical order is fulfilled and shipped by Kenyao. And Step 6, that entire merchant application and all its data are hosted securely on Alibaba Cloud. From the factory floor straight to your front door, it's powered entirely by interconnected Alibaba infrastructure. And for Alibaba, this interconnectivity is an absolute goldmine. They aren't just skimming merchant commissions and marketplace fees. Because the ecosystem is so tight, they generate diverse, reinforcing revenue streams from advertising tools, cloud computing subscriptions, logistics services, digital entertainment, and enterprise software. Every single service strengthens the others, meaning they generate revenue at practically every touchpoint of a transaction.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this thought. Alibaba hasn't just participated in the economy. They have essentially built their own from scratch. When a single entity controls the underlying infrastructure for buying, selling, communicating, computing, and physical delivery, are we looking at a traditional company or the blueprint for the ultimate digital monopoly? It is a reality we're all going to have to watch very closely as the global digital economy evolves. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.